It was supposed to be just another warm evening at the Tannery Art Center, a place that pulsed with laughter, art, and the sound of children playing freely. The kind of community where everyone knew everyone, and safety felt like a promise. Among those children was 8-year-old Madison Middleton, a cheerful little girl whose laughter could fill the courtyard as she rode her scooter beneath the soft orange glow of the setting sun. But that same evening, as daylight faded, Madison vanished. And what followed shattered the peace of an entire community. At first, no one panicked. Maybe she'd wandered off to a neighbor's house, maybe she was still playing. But as minutes turned to hours, fear began to tighten its grip. The tannery, once full of color and warmth, grew cold and uneasy. No one yet knew that something unthinkable had happened, something that would expose darkness hiding in plain sight. What truly happened to Madison that evening? And how could such a tragedy unfold in a place that felt so safe? Before we dive deeper into this heartbreaking story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. We bring you the real stories, the ones that shake even the calmest places. Adrian Gonzalez was born in late October 1999, in Santa Cruz, California, the only child of Reggie, a woman of Filipino descent, and her partner Abraham, a Mexican national. Reggie's life had never been easy. It was a story defined by hardship, survival, and resilience. At just 20 years old, she had left the Philippines after meeting an American man who promised her a better life. But soon after arriving in California, she found herself betrayed, isolated, and alone in a foreign land. When that relationship ended in chaos, even landing her briefly in trouble with the law, she was left struggling to survive. She spoke little English, had no income, and nowhere to turn. Then came Abraham. Kind at first, charming even, but his temper and love for alcohol quickly revealed another side. In June 2001, when Adrian was not yet 2 years old, Abraham was arrested for assault and domestic violence. That day marked the end of their relationship, and the beginning of Reggie's long, painful road as a single mother. She worked anywhere she could, in care homes, cleaning, stocking shelves, even while living in shelters and relying on food stamps. But Reggie never gave up. In 2008, her life began to stabilize with a job at a discount store. Just when hope seemed within reach, her boss began harassing her, demanding favors under threat of firing her. She fought back, filed a lawsuit, and won. But victory came with a price. She was fired and left homeless once again. Still, she kept moving forward. By 2014, Reggie and Adrian had finally found some peace at the Tannery Art Center, a creative housing community for low-income artists. While others there painted murals or sculpted, Reggie poured her emotions into oil and acrylics. Adrian, now a quiet teenager, found comfort in ceramics and floral art. He smiled often, helped neighbors, and entertained kids with yo-yo tricks, the picture of a polite, soft-spoken young man. But online, a different story was unfolding. His posts were dark, filled with loneliness, anxiety, and despair. Friends like Katie Carroll noticed, worried, even tried to help. But as Adrian's thoughts grew heavier, most drifted away, unsure how to reach him. By the summer of 2015, Adrian was 15, polite, familiar, and trusted. And among the children who adored him, was Madison. Sunday, July 26, 2015. The evening air was warm, the courtyard full of laughter. Madison rode her scooter one last time as the sun sank behind the buildings. By 5 p.m., she was gone. Her mother, Laura Jordan, called her name, again and again, but silence answered back. Within an hour, the entire complex was searching. Police arrived. The FBI joined in. Flyers went up. A statewide Amber Alert went out. Hope was the only thing keeping everyone moving. Until the following evening. When a detective searching near the recycling area made a devastating discovery, a small body, hidden inside a bin, right there at the tannery. The community collapsed in grief. And when police reviewed surveillance footage, their hearts sank even deeper. Around 5:05 p.m., Madison was seen riding her scooter, the last image of her alive. An hour later, Adrian Gonzalez appeared on camera, discarding a bag in the same bin. When officers came for him, his mother screamed in disbelief as they led her only son away in handcuffs. The truth that followed was almost too horrific to speak. Adrian had lured Madison with ice cream, then attacked her inside his apartment. What began as trust ended in unspeakable violence. Madison's death sent shockwaves through Santa Cruz and beyond. Vigils were held. Neighbors wept. Artists painted tributes. On July 31st, under the light of a rare blue moon, the community howled together, Madison's favorite sound, in her memory. But even in heartbreak, compassion found a way. During the funeral, Laura, Madison's mother, embraced Reggie, Adrian's mother, and whispered, "You are not to blame." It was a moment of pure humanity, a reminder that grief can connect even those on opposite sides of tragedy. Months turned into years, but the echoes of that night refused to fade. The community still carried the weight of Madison's absence, and the question of justice lingered in every courtroom session that followed. In June 2016, Adrian Gonzalez pled not guilty to all charges. He remained in custody without bail, and what followed would become a long, tangled legal battle marked by delays, appeals, and heartbreak. His trial, first scheduled for early 2017, faced multiple postponements. By September 2017, a key hearing began in Santa Cruz County Superior Court, one that would decide whether Adrian should be tried as an adult. Inside the courtroom, Adrian appeared withdrawn, dressed in a plain green shirt and khaki pants issued by the Juvenile Center. He barely spoke, and when asked by the judge, quietly waived his right to a speedy trial. Witnesses painted a clearer picture of the boy behind the crime. They spoke of a life scarred by poverty, instability, and isolation, of nights spent in shelters, and a mother who fought the world alone. His former classmate Katie Carroll testified, recalling late-night phone calls where Adrian confessed to thoughts of ending his life. Though she didn't see him as a monster, her words were firm: "He deserves life imprisonment." The hearing concluded in November 2017, with the judge ruling that Adrian would indeed be tried as an adult, and transferred to an adult facility. His defense team immediately appealed, arguing that at just 15, Adrian's mind was not yet fully developed, and that an adult prison would destroy any chance of rehabilitation. Then, in 2019, a major shift in California law changed everything. A new ruling prohibited anyone *15 or younger from being tried in adult court, no matter the crime. The decision, upheld by the state Supreme Court, cited research showing that minors' brains lack full maturity, making them less culpable than adults. Adrian's defense seized this opportunity. Based on the new law, they successfully argued for his transfer back into the juvenile system. He was moved from Santa Cruz County Jail to a state juvenile detention facility, but legal confusion soon followed. The restructuring of California's juvenile system in 2020 left his case in limbo. By 2021, the state Supreme Court reaffirmed that ruling, and Adrian, now 21, returned to juvenile court. He admitted to all charges connected to Madison's murder and received the maximum juvenile sentence, detention until his 25th birthday, in October 2024. During the proceedings, Madison's mother Laura Jordan stood before the court, playing a short video of her daughter, smiling, laughing, and riding her scooter around the tannery. Then she turned to Adrian and said, "You stole my joy, and left me with pain I can never escape." Madison's father, Michael Middleton, spoke quietly outside the courthouse. He said he had made peace with his daughter's death, even forgiven Adrian, but believed he should remain imprisoned for life to ensure no one else suffered as they had. In June 2023, Adrian was transferred to a secure juvenile facility in Sonoma County designed for young offenders aged 14 to 24. But as his 25th birthday approached, the limit of his juvenile sentence, the question of his future reignited fierce debate. By July 2024, Adrian returned to Santa Cruz Superior Court for a probable cause hearing to determine if he still posed a threat to society. If the prosecution failed to prove ongoing danger, he could be released as early as October 2024. Outside the courthouse, crowds gathered, holding signs that read, "Justice for Madison" and "Keep him locked away." Inside, a forensic psychiatrist from the Department of Corrections testified that Adrian had admitted to sexual motivations behind the crime during interviews in 2023. The expert stated that Adrian showed no remorse, scored moderate to high risk for re-offending, and exhibited traits consistent with psychopathy, paranoia, and schizophrenia. Although treatment programs for sexual offenders were recommended, the psychiatrist warned they did not address Adrian's attraction to minors or his necrophilic tendencies. Adrian's attorney countered, claiming those assessments were designed for adult offenders, not juveniles, and were therefore unreliable. The court postponed its decision. The community split between those who saw Adrian as beyond redemption, and those who still believed in rehabilitation. A social worker from the detention center offered a different view. Adrian had shown no violent behavior in custody, completed online college courses, and participated actively in therapy. Records even showed he'd briefly formed a monitored relationship with a woman outside the facility, a sign, his defense argued, of progress and social stability. Still, as his 24th birthday approached, Adrian was briefly transferred to Santa Cruz County Jail, where he was housed among adult inmates. His lawyers protested, successfully securing his return to a juvenile facility while legal reviews continued. Then, on August 6, a stunning decision came down. The judge ruled that there was sufficient evidence to consider Adrian's crimes, murder, kidnapping, stalking, and aggravated sexual assault, as continuing threats to public safety. She emphasized that Adrian had never undergone a full trial due to years of legal back and forth over his status as a juvenile or adult. Despite his prior guilty plea, the court ordered a jury trial, not to reprove guilt, but to decide whether Adrian had been truly rehabilitated after 9 years behind bars. The trial was scheduled to begin within 30 days, but more delays followed. Adrian's defense attorney withdrew due to a conflict of interest, forcing the court to appoint a new lawyer specializing in juvenile defense. An initial trial date was set for September 23, 2024, but proceedings were again postponed to November. Jury selection began on November 18, with potential jurors questioned about their views on juvenile crime, rehabilitation, and justice. Before the trial could begin in full, tragedy struck again. Madison's father, Michael Middleton, passed away on November 4, leaving his family to face the court proceedings without him. As of the latest update, the trial was still underway, expected to continue through the end of the year, with recesses for Christmas and New Year. If not completed, it was set to resume on January 21, 2025. For nearly a decade, the murder of Madison Middleton has haunted Santa Cruz, a story of innocence lost, justice delayed, and a community forever changed. After hearing the intricate details of one of the most disturbing cases we've ever covered, what do you think? Do you believe Adrian's punishment was fair? Or do you think justice still hasn't been fully served? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more thrilling true crime stories. Share your thoughts below. Because even after all these years, the story of Madison and Adrian still asks one painful question. Can justice and forgiveness ever truly exist side by side?